By this point in your academic career, you probably think you're an expert in taking notes because your notes have taken you this far. Note-taking, be it on a laptop or longhand, along with highlighting, are perhaps the most generally accepted and widely used learning strategies out there today. However, if not used correctly, these seemingly efficient and harmless activities can become wasteful pitfalls replete with mistakes which will drain your energy instead of fortifying your knowledge base. It may not seem that way to you now, but the truth is most people, including you, could get a much higher return on all the effort and time they spend on learning, simply by making conceptual and practical adjustments to the process. In fact, you have probably experienced some of the shortcomings of these common practices already. When you look at the pages of incomprehensible notes that pile up in different folders and formats with no real connection to each other, without giving you real, useful access to what you need to know when you need it. Or when your color coding system inevitably fails you and your textbooks start looking like chunks of paper dipped in liquid rainbow because of over-highlighting and color coding. The problem is, these practices give you an illusion of knowledge and learning that is comforting and may even be functional over short periods of time. However, in all likelihood, you won't be able to make sense of your own notes in 6 months, let alone in several years. So really, what good is learning anything if it is not sustainable and not going to last you beyond the semester? Are you just learning to pass exams and get certifications? Or do you want your knowledge to stay with you and expand and deepen over time? All the effort, time and energy you put into taking notes will be wasted unless you fix your approach right now. You already know about systems thinking and the importance of developing your own knowledge tree for optimal lifelong learning. You need to build up a proper reference system for what you're learning right now that will serve you well beyond your tests, assignments and thesis projects. You can do that by enhancing your learning techniques and asking the right questions about what you're learning. What is the main building block of that system when you think about it and want to break it down? It all goes back to the humble note. Your initial interaction with any new material you're presented with, be it in a book, in a class, at a lecture, or online articles or videos. Your notes are your very own way of distilling information, so they are of crucial importance, and that is why we will tackle 2 interlinked topics in the next 2 modules: note-taking and note-making. Most students think they are already familiar with note-taking because they take notes in one way or another during their studies. But as you will see, the process does not and should not stop there. It is only by understanding and connecting the complementary elements of note-taking and note-making that you can lay a lasting foundation for your knowledge base and thrive. You can become a better, smarter learner simply by modifying your outlook, and this module is here to help you do just that. You have to learn to be flexible and make adjustments on the go as you take notes on a wide range of topics from different sources so that you can incorporate them into your personal knowledge management system efficiently. Fix how you think about taking notes, learn and practice to take better notes, and you'll be a more efficient and productive learner, not just now, but for your life. Let's answer a simple question first. What is a note? In general, a note can be defined as anything containing a thought or idea, or groups of them, revealed in a way that is meaningful for the person who creates the note. Let's take that in for a minute. A note is how you derive value from your information diet, everything that comes at you constantly, directly or indirectly, from different sources. So first and foremost, you should be selective with the information diet. The quality of your ingredients always matter when it comes to your food, and they certainly matter when it comes to your education. Always try to distinguish and prioritize the information with a higher value and quality when you take notes. It is not always easy to detect quality information, especially when you discover new knowledge at university. A good option is to trust your teachers during your studies, since they curate the information for you and make decisions on what to include in the learning material and what to discard. Just for a moment, think about all the articles, books and publications you never get to see because your teacher thought they were not good enough or off topic. But don't trust your teachers blindly. Ask yourself this: what are your criteria for trusting a teacher? The process is similar to choosing a doctor in many ways. Do you prefer a doctor who's nice and charming over the one with more expertise? If you cannot have both, what is more important to you? Just like with doctors, you don't need to like your teachers to learn from their expertise. You have to determine how much you are willing to learn from them. The choice is ultimately yours. And never forget, your teachers do the teaching, but it is you who has to do the learning. How can you learn better with taking notes? Multiple studies have found that taking notes during lectures is helpful not only in encoding new information, but also for its storage and later use. That is your revision during the preparation for an exam or for writing an essay. Every lecture session gives you the opportunity to practice your note-taking skills. Again and again, you can improve your technique on how to be selective, how to recognize, extract and organize the most relevant knowledge from the information you encounter, and how to link it to what you already know. Recent developments in note-taking tools and in the Tools for Thought category enable you to create your own web of connections between various pieces of information. You can create your own personal knowledge management system. You can take yourself to the next level. Remember, learning should not be about hoarding knowledge like a treasure that will not see the light of day. Instead, it is about emancipating yourself as a self-directed lifelong learner. Gain a more mature way of thinking and keep learning with your notes as you get older. When you are committed to learning, let your notes constantly evolve and expand, not just during your studies, but throughout your life. However, the quality of your notes matter, and they can make all the difference in the possible outcomes for you. Let's have a look at your notes. Have you ever gone back to your notes from previous years only to find that you cannot make any sense of them? What is their quality? Note-taking is one of the crucial steps in the learning process. What you choose to leave out and ignore is just as important as what you decide to keep in your notes. And that is why the first step to taking better notes starts with asking the right questions. Knowing what you want to get out of your learning before you even start will help you learn much better. It will also save you a lot of energy and effort over time. Consequently, having a mental image of what you're learning and what you'll be using it for is another way for you to improve your notes. Think about that when you attend your next class. Formulate your own expectations for what you want to get out of the session and adjust your notes accordingly. Note-taking is not the simple mindless act of writing things down word by word, copy-pasting text or highlighting paragraphs in different colors, which may be all you have been doing so far. You have to keep in mind that what you pay attention to becomes the main building block of what you'll end up learning and remembering. So you have to choose wisely. Record information in a way that is easily accessible to you later. Record it in a way that it can be labeled and sorted within a usable structure. The structure you choose depends on the complexity of the subject as well as the number of topics and inputs. More complex subjects would require information grouping, but don't let that scare you. Knowing what to save is half the battle. Focus your attention towards the things you really want to remember. Doing that alone increases the depth of your learning and remembering process by manifolds. Another great advantage of adopting this outlook is that it will allow you to do the bulk of the work ahead of time and save yourself a lot of headache in the process. That is because most organizational decisions that lead to better learning can be made up front. Put in the time and effort now and develop a comprehensive note-taking system that works for you. Then you can access and reuse what you learn at any point in your life. By going through the trouble now, you will develop and streamline a personalized system that will enable you to focus your energy on critical and creative thinking, which really is the most enjoyable aspect of learning anything in the first place. Ultimately, how you take your notes is as important as what you do with them, which will take us into the note making in the next module. It is also important to keep in mind that ideas and therefore notes are not single use, no matter how big or small they are. They can always be reshaped, reworked and reused to complement other ideas or generate new ones. Taking notes in class can be tricky because it happens in real time and you have no control over the speed at which information is coming at you. That is why it is crucial to be prepared before you take any notes so that you can jot down and summarize the parts that are the most meaningful and useful to you. Train yourself to ask these 3 simple questions whenever you're faced with new information that you need to learn. How can I use this? Why must I use this? When will I use this? By answering these questions every time and incorporating your answers into your personal note-taking system, you add value to your notes in many ways. It may sound time-consuming, but by doing these things, you set yourself up for becoming a more successful thinker in the long run. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, write your notes selectively and carefully. As you process your notes, write in your own words and in complete sentences. Your future self who will read it will be a different person than the one you are today. Be kind to your future self and give enough context. Write in a way that is easily understandable for you and others. Strive for clarity. Be concise. This will help you develop new skills and communicate your ideas to yourself and to others more clearly, regardless of the context you will be using them in. It also allows you to add value to your intellectual work as you share your work with others. There are many time-tested and proven techniques out there for note-taking in lectures. For the purpose of this module, we will review two of them briefly: the Cornell method and the outline method. Developed by Walter Polk of Cornell University, this method has been useful for university students because it has been designed for and focuses on classroom note-taking. It also functions as a study system through a semantic approach to condensing and organizing notes. It includes the following steps: record the facts and what is important, such as details, definitions, formulas, examples on the right side of your paper. Then question. Write questions and cues on the left side of your paper or tag them to the contents. These can be keywords, questions, and main ideas. These are great starting points for learning with flashcards and using active recall and spaced repetition to your advantage. Third, summarize. After the lecture, write a summary of the content in your own words and in full sentences. Your writing prompt can be something like, "Today I learned." If it is easier, you can use the speech recognition feature in your computer or your smartphone to dictate and record complete sentences. In this method, as the name suggests, information is sorted through a series of hierarchically structured outlines that form a skeleton of the subject at hand and act as a study guide. The outline method can be used in lectures or in visual content. It is often an exercise of recreating the structure that the teacher offers. Watch out for chapter markers, headings and subheadings to identify key ideas. This method emphasizes the core content as well as relationships between the material, reducing the time needed for editing and allowing for an easier review process. Once you try to work with these techniques, you can develop your own approach, maybe mixing the best of both approaches into something that works well for you and what you need to learn. First, stop being a passive absorber of information. Think about what you learn and how it relates to your own work before you attend a lecture or pick up a book. You will be able to make much better notes that way. Second, become an active reader and listener. Your intentions and purpose for learning influence the way you take notes and ultimately retain information for later use. Third, do not hide behind the comfort of mindless highlighting. Only highlight what you need. Limit it to a few keywords that enable you to fully understand the concept and key ideas. Make a summarized note of your highlights and add it to your knowledge management system for future reference. Remember, writing in your own words leads to a more profound understanding of the topic. Fourth, familiarize yourself with various tools that are out there that can help you take better notes and build a personal knowledge management system that works for you. Choose the tools that suit you best. For lecture note-taking, have a look at Remnote, Obsidian or Notion. The Tools for Thought category is coming out of its beta phase. Retire your Word or Google Docs system, which is hiding in folders. For reference systems, look at Zotero, Mendeley, EndNote or Citavi. Investigate what your university library has to offer. Tap into the expertise that librarians have on this. You won't regret it. If you read a lot on the go, or to be more mindful when learning, try out Read It Later apps with note-making capability, such as Matter, Pocket or Readwise. Keep in mind that all these tools are developing and changing rapidly, so take some time to figure out what works for you. I'll provide a few links and recommendations below. By using some simple techniques and having a centralized personal knowledge management system for resurfacing your notes and thoughts, you can transcend the limits of your own memory, learn better, connect ideas and information, and excel at whatever you choose to learn. Developing proper note-taking skills will help you organize and shape information into an understandable format that will strengthen your learning process, not only for your next exam or your thesis, but for all your future projects.